It was in 2014. I was in Minneapolis for an event that I was asked to speak at. It was an event about liberty. And while I was there, I had a chance to meet really two people whose names I did not know, Jennifer Larson and Mark Blaxell. And these were two people who came to this event, and it was in part sponsored by the Canary Party. And I didn't know what the Canary Party was either, by the way. And while we were there, I had a chance to talk with them for a few minutes, and they started explaining to me some of the issues with vaccines and concerns about vaccines. And this is an issue that I knew very little about. But the thing that really caught my attention as they were explaining a lot of different things at one time was they mentioned something called vaccine court. And having never heard of vaccine court before, I asked them, well, what is that? And they started to explain to me the process for vaccine court, how it works, the fact that it's this proxy court that's set up, and the fact that vaccine makers cannot be sued. Does that mean all vaccine makers should be sued? No, not necessarily. But the fact that you can't sue them, any of them, was kind of alarming to me. Well, why can't you do that? What kind of protection has been set up? And then they were beginning to explain about the vaccine schedule, how much it's increased over the past 30 years versus the number of cases that are actually make it into vaccine court. And so it was really interesting. And so we decided to create a Truth in Media episode with Jennifer and Mark, and to interview Mark about this because the issue of vaccine court was so interesting to me. Now, it was interesting after we did this piece that so many people came out and said, oh, this means you're anti-vaccine. This means that you're trying to link vaccine and autism. Didn't mean any of that. We were just interested in a very specific portion of this story about vaccine court to say most people, I know I had never heard of it, no one that I talked to about after the fact, friends and colleagues had ever heard of vaccine court. They had no idea that it existed. And so it was about informing the public and saying, listen, while this whole debate is going on about vaccines and autism and whether they're safe, whether they're not safe, and do parents have rights to choose, and do parents have the ability to make this decision for their children? Does the state have the ability to be able to mandate it for everyone? As we have this debate, here's something that's not being debated and probably should be front and center in this discussion, is the fact that you have this law that was essentially created in order to shield all these vaccine makers. So that was really how I first came into this discussion, and then from there it kind of snowballed.